Live from the world headquarters of 990WBOB.com in the original 13th colony, spreading truth and slaying lies, a one-man gang in a war to restore freedom and liberty, Dan Bidondi.
Alright guys, welcome to the Dan Bidondi Show on the June 2nd, 2020 edition of the Dan Bidondi Show live right here on 990WBOB.com. And we're right in the middle of a war zone right now, man. It's insane what's going on out there. Right like blocks away from us, there's cops and military everywhere. You got military helicopters flying around. There's already fires about 5 miles away, 5 miles down the road from us. And they're expecting to hit what's a place called Garden City in the Warwick Around Mall. It's heavily armed down there, but there's already fires and chaos going on right here in our hometown, you know what I mean? And so anyway, we're going to be joined by Infowars.com reporter, a good personal close friend of mine, Jon Bowne. Jon Bowne on the ground. He's going to be calling in very shortly, and when he calls in, we'll put him in. And you're going to be joining with me and John for the next 45 minutes, and we're going to do a quick broadcast here just to bring you all up to date, man, because Antifa has declared war on America. Their Facebook pages, their Twitter pages got shut down. From doing so, they're encouraging their members to go all-out war, going to suburbs to attack what they claim is theirs. You know, because that's how the socialists are. They think everything, they're entitled to everything. So they are launching all-out war and the destruction of products last night and all over this country, man. Certain parts of the country. And the thing is, it's not the protesters, guys. The Black Lives Matter protesters, they're there peaceful with signs. Yeah, they're yelling and screaming, rightfully so. But they're there peacefully with signs. They're even trying to tell the Antifa people stop doing what they're doing. Because the Antifa, tons of videos, them getting caught, busting up property and everything else, and spray painting BLM for Black Lives Matter on the building. And you got people from Black Lives Matter saying, hey, dude, you need to stop because they're going to blame us for this. You know what I mean? And what that does is it goes out to the general public and it escalates the race war. That's what Antifa wants. They want us whites and blacks destroying each other. And the Antifa, they're not black people, guys. They're white, decrepit people. Literally. They're like overprivileged kids that can't stand their parents. That's how they are. And they want to destroy society. And they follow this communist agenda. The very thing we've been warning you up for 20 years. Okay, I've been doing this stuff for over 20 years and over 11, 12 years now on the radio. We told you this was coming. You know what I mean? And we told you it was a communist takeover. They infiltrated many parts of society. They even got corrupt police departments on top of this too. Because there's tons of videos surfacing out there how police, undercover cops are going undercover and purposely busting up buildings to push the agenda. And we're not saying all police are like that, because we know there's good police as well. Lots of them are good police. Try to protect their own homeland because that's where their families and everything grow up and everything else. So we're at war. We are at war right now, guys. You got people like, again, George Soros. We talk about him a lot. He's one of the culprits. He doesn't lift a finger. He just throws the money out, and he wants to destabilize his entire country to push that globalist New World Order agenda we've been warning about for years. And it's funny how everybody laughed at us, they chuckled at us, and, well, that'll never happen here. Guess what? It's happening here. We told you that, okay? And I hate to say that. I wish I was wrong. But we told you so. This was coming. Plain and simple, we told you this was coming. But nobody wanted to wake up to it. Everybody thought it was a joke. You're a bunch of conspiracy theorists to put your tinfoil hat on. We told you on record. If you go back to the archives on the station here, I started with the station, I think it was back in 2012. Somewhere in that period, actually before that. 2010, 2011. When the station became entity, I joined the station within like less than a year before, for its first year. Now they're like 11, 12 years old or something now. And so I've been here since the beginning, man. And on this station, and at the time I was broadcasting off of WALE 990 AM in Providence, a lot of us here came from there. So, and the station went down, whatever the case. But we've been telling you for years, guys, if you go back to the archives right on 990WBOB.com, on record, I got myself and other guests I brought on telling you this was coming. You know what I mean? So I hope people got their ears on, and I hope people just pay attention, because we still can win this, guys. And the Second Amendment is now more important than ever, big time. The Second Amendment, you need to arm yourselves up to the teeth, because even sheriffs across the country are telling people you need to go buy firearms and you need to arm up to protect yourselves. Because right now, where we are right now, God forbid something happened here. By the time the police got here, because they're all busy at the entrances, trying to stop this stuff, we'd be in trouble if we didn't have firearms. You know what I mean? So, you need to defend yourselves. You know what I mean? And you just turn your property, and that's your God-given right to do that, and your constitutional right. To arm yourselves to the teeth. This is what the Founding Fathers warned us about. And yes, we got the, communists, ANTIFA, and the other groups like them infiltrated this country. But yes, we got people within the police departments. And I think we got my guest on the phone. Again, good personal close friend of mine, Infowars.com reporter. He does his own podcast as well. So it was Jon Bowne on the ground. How you doing, brother?
Great to be on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, I needed to vent, so thanks for having me on.
I think you'd be the perfect person, and I'm sorry for the short time notice, whatever. But man, right where I am, brother, we're in ground zero right now. Like half a mile from us, there's police and military everywhere. We got helicopters military helicopters circling. There's fires up the road going on. I'm right in the middle of a war zone right now.
Wow. Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that, and then I've got plenty of stuff to talk about.
Oh, good.
I'd really like to get an idea for how many people are on the street around you right now.
They call the curfew, so the general public's off the streets, and where it is, it's a not industrial area, a commercial area, so it's not like somebody could just walk across the street from the houses, whatever. But it's crazy. I mean, there's always stuff going on now. And there's a place called Garden City. It's a mini strip. Well, it's a decent sized strip mall, and they, Antifa threatened to go attack that in the Warwick and Rhode Island Mall as well. And apparently that's where they are now because there's fires going on and everything else. And so it's pretty nuts. And we, you've seen the tweets, man. Before the Twitter took their tweets down, Antifa said, we're going to go into the suburbs, we're going to kill white families, we're going to take this country, we're going to get what's ours, we're going to take back what's ours, which none of it's theirs in the first place. They've openly declared, I was just saying before you come on, John, I was saying that people like us, for years, when we got laughed at, called conspiracy theorists, on record, and I remember you saying this back in 2012 when I first met you, man, we warned people about this coming, the hijack of the Communist Party in America, and the progressive parties, and the elites and all that. And even some of the cops disguise themselves as agitators and doing the stuff too, man. We're under attack, man. And we've been warning people for decades about this stuff happening. But what are your thoughts on it, man? Isn't it surreal?
I think a lot of people don't even though it's right in their face, they don't realize what's happening. Now, what's happened is, and we've done numerous reports about this, this goes deep. What's happened is our universities, our colleges, our education systems were taken over by Marxist professors. And on top of that, you've had this new generation of millennials. Okay, I'm Generation X. Previous generation is the baby boomer generation. Baby boomers give birth to my generation, as well as the me generation, the millennials. Meanwhile, our education system is becoming Marxist. Our culture is destroyed. The new technology that's out there has caused these people to become zombies. We don't, and I'm just repeating what's on every Generation X and baby boomer's mind right now. People do not live their lives like they did 20, 30 years ago. They don't put the phone down and go have a great time in the pursuit of happiness with other Americans. And when we did that, there were black people there. There were Asian people there. I'm part white, I'm part Filipino. And there's plenty of people in this country that are part this, part that.
Yeah.
Yet I've got white skin. So what we need to do now is we need to point the finger, and we need to look directly at not just Antifa as this trust fund baby, golden spoon-fed group of people that they are, because they are. And I've confronted them on my own. I confronted nearly 200 of them on my own, right here in Austin, Texas, by myself, all of them in front of me shouting, and they were scared as hell. I ran them off by myself with my truth and my anger.
Well, you got that Kentucky blood in you, too.
Well, I've got that, too. But, I've grown up. My roots are in Kentucky, but, I've lived in Washington, D.C. I've lived in New York City. I've lived a life that was devoid of all of whatever it is that's on these people's minds every day. about how I owe them something because of my white skin. Well, guess what? Most of the black people I grew up with, they don't feel that way. We were all just trying to get along and move this country forward. And now you've got this whole new generation that is obsessed with this idea that they're owed something 400 years after slavery. And you've got Black Lives Matter and Antifa out there pushing this, and the leftist media, that we're all supposed to take a knee for black folks because we should feel guilt. Well, we need to face this head on. And it's not racist for me to say these things, because what I'm doing is pointing out racism.
Absolutely.
What I'm saying is the Black Lives Matter movement is the new Ku Klux Klan.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it like it is. And I'll say it right here, and you may hear it a week from now, a month from now, you may never hear it, as long as the liberal media is out there pushing it. But let me throw this at you. Okay, the Wall Street Journal in 2009, statistics from the Bureau of Justice Statistics revealed that blacks were charged with 62% of the robberies, 57% of murders, and 45% of assaults in the 75 biggest counties in the country, despite only comprising roughly 15% of the population in these counties. Okay, they talk about disproportionate, that black people are being killed by police disproportionately, or receiving it, at the very least, police brutality. I've received police brutality. I am afraid of the police. It's the police culture that needs to be fixed, not this racist systemic racism BS. Now, the number of people shot to death by police in the United States from 2017 to 2020 by race, okay? In 2017, 457 white people. In 2017, 223 black people. In 2018, 399 white people. In 2018, 209 black people. And guess what? Here we are in 2020, and we're halfway through the year, and we couldn't be having a better year when it comes to police shooting citizens of the United States, who, for the most part, are usually armed. There's only a small, tiny percentage that are armed, and when they're armed, according to last year's statistics, double the amount that were armed were white and were shot by police. There were 19 white people that were armed that were shot, and there were 9 black people. So this whole thing, this whole facade about black people disproportionately, and then being attacked by the police. And this year, 2020, 42 white people shot by police, 31 shot by black people, 13 Hispanic, 3 other, and 139 unknown.
Wow. Okay,
more unknown this year than any other race. You know, unknown probably includes someone like me, who's, you know, many races, or a couple of races anyway. But the destruction of our country and the fact that we've been put into this, we were waking up with a coronavirus threat, and we were dealing with that the best we could, and we were trying to get the long-term vision of how we would deal with that. And there were people getting frustrated, like you and me, that were getting frustrated with the whole thing. Is this a ruse? It's a hoax. You know, the suppression of the information of coronavirus, whether or not it was made in the lab, and more researchers coming out saying it was, or at least show signs that it is, or this new German study saying that the whole thing's a hoax. There's a lot of avenues to approach as far as coronavirus. Well, that pushed a lot of people like you and me, patriots, out into the street and saying, look, we want to go back to work. We want to reopen our businesses. We were labeled as racists and terrorists. And now you've got their babies, the leftist mob out there. And if coronavirus truly does exist, there couldn't be a better test, because they're all next to each other. They've got their masks on. It's hot outside. It's hard to breathe with those things on.
Yep.
And the thing is when you wear a mask, okay, if you're really going to wear a mask, you have to take the mask off by the loops around your ears. You can't move it up and down over your face. You can't hang it down under your neck. You know why? Because you just touched it with your hand.
Yep.
Which may have touched anything. And are you cleaning your? I mean, so you see them wearing the mask. Now that brings me to, why are they all wearing masks? Why all of a sudden did we do this 180? So a couple of years ago, we were starting to say, local police forces were starting to say, look, you can't wear masks anymore to these protests because there's instigators, infiltrators, and they're wearing masks. So if you're coming, you've got to not wear a mask. Well, they fixed that, didn't they?
Yep.
About a year later, here we are. Everyone's got masks on, and they're all looting, and they're stupid enough. The other thing is they're stupid enough, Antifa is stupid enough to think that they're helping out their generation of black kids their age. Well, wearing a mask over your face isn't going to stop facial recognition technology from picking out your eyes, the upper part of your head. Most of them are barely wearing the mask anyway. Antifa, who claims to be doing this great service for black folks, is actually, when it's all said and done, going to put a portion of them, a big portion of them, in jail. Now, we know a lot of lawyers out there are working pro bono who work with the whole Marxist movement within the colleges. There's a whole Marxist socialist movement within this country that has to be addressed. And I've been saying it for months, that the Democratic Party is the biggest threat to this country. It
Absolutely.
really is.
It is.
We've got to start facing the music, and we've got to stop being afraid of being called a racist, because I'm not afraid, because I know for sure, for certain, that I'm not a racist. And in fact, you calling me a racist is incredibly insulting to me.
It is. I contest to that. You're not racist.
Yeah, you have no idea what my family's been through or what I've been through in my life to judge me by my white skin.
Yep.
But now you've got, as soon as recent as 20, 30 minutes ago, BLM, people are learning, white people that try to get close to this movement and get in soon find out that they're used for their skin color. And just 30 minutes ago, right in front of the White House, BLM was saying white people to the front, white people to the front. They're using white people as shields. Wow. And they're claiming, well, black people will hit it, or the police will hit us because we're black. That's baloney. That's baloney.
Yeah, it is.
White people get hit a lot more by the police, trust me.
Yeah.
And, and the other thing is, we, as a country, we can't sustain being divided like this. We've got to face it head on, or it's going to get inevitably ugly. We have castle doctrine laws here in Texas. If you get anywhere near my house, I've got a 12 gauge, and I'm not afraid to use it.
We got the same law here in Rhode Island until the King of the Castle law.
Right. Yeah. So, and as it goes for businesses too, I know there are definitely things you can and can't do. I'm not saying anyone should shoot anybody that loots, because there are laws against that. Unfortunately, I mean, if you own a business, you cannot protect that business unless you fortunately own a gun store, and unless somebody comes into your business with a gun, you can't shoot them.
Yeah.
It's a felony, and you can't shoot at them. You can't. There are some. It depends on the state, but I think you can shoot into the air, depending on the situation. But don't take it from me.
I know if they pose immediate threat to your life, then you can hear Rhode Island lease and.
Yeah. Yeah, if they're just protesting in front of your business, you can't just go out and shoot. But if they're rushing your business, you can shoot in the air.
Yeah.
They're good. So we're having to figure these things out as a country. And, you know, Trump disappeared on Sunday. I really could have used Trump on Sunday, but I'm not coming down on Trump. Okay? We really need his side of the issue to work its way through. And, you know, we're looking at the possibility of the Insurrection Act, which hasn't been enacted since, 1807?
Yeah, somewhere there.
It's not posse comitatus, but it's basically the federalized version of it. Then you've got all these governors. You've got the governor in the blackface wearing governor in Virginia, speaking of racists, who pulled all the National Guard back out of D.C. You've got the D.C. city mayor who's saying she won't use city police to protect the president of the United States. And they're turning it around. They're turning the narrative around to say that, you know, Trump basically did everything he did yesterday for a photo op in front of that church. But those people that are saying that didn't want to hear from the president.
No.
The rest of us did.
And they don't like the fact that he declared ANTIFA as domestic terrorists. You know what I mean? And
right. And, well, the fact of the matter is the rest of us did.
Yep.
And we needed law and order. I mean, I'm listening to the police scanner at night. I don't know how many other people are doing that. You know, and I was listening to it on Sunday night, and they were getting close to my house. I mean, they're looting, you know, the Walmart and the Target and the Best Buy down the road, you know, and I'm staying up listening to it, and people are getting shot, and you know, and so there's no law and order. This isn't a protest anymore, and not only that, the protest itself, the message of the protest, is wrong. It's just wrong. It's false. It doesn't work. It doesn't hold up.
Yeah, and plus, like, Biden, I mean, yeah, all right, they protested, he's arrested, all right, the cops arrested, all right, you got your point across, let's just end this, but, you know, they want to keep going, and it's going to be instigated to go even further, and, you know, destroying your own towns and all that, that's not going to do anything, you know what I mean? And,
well, but now people are being killed.
Yeah.
You know, George Floyd, are we supposed to, you know, it's tragic what happened to George Floyd, of course it is.
Yeah.
But tragedies happen all over the world all the time. They happen to all kinds of people, and they're happening right now. And they're happening to children, too, by the way. And no one's even paying attention.
Nope.
But we're all focused on George Floyd. And George Floyd would agree with me. He'd be sitting here right next to me right now.
Yeah.
Live, saying, yeah, exactly what you're saying, John. And, you know, I don't want to totally speak for him, but judging by what his brother said, and by what he said on tape, I can tell you that he wouldn't be raised up as this reason for looting and the instigation of racism, the creation of this racist environment by an entire generation. These people are just obsessed. And the thing is they weren't even, they're talking about things that they weren't even the thought in their parents' head yet that existed. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. What I'm trying to say is the civil rights movement ended with busing in the early 70s.
Yep.
I was born in the early 70s. I went to a school in Washington, D.C. with kids of all races, okay?
Same, yeah, man.
You didn't get to know people based on their race. You knew them because they were a jerk or they were nice. That was it. And some people you really got along with, and some people you didn't. Well, guess what? That's human nature. But these people are so insecure that they would judge somebody's personality. They would rather not deal with your personality. They would rather just look at your skin color and go ahead and judge you and make up their mind. But we've got a 53-year-old security officer was murdered in Oakland. We've got those police officers run over in Buffalo, New York. We've got, I think, 4 police officers shot in St. Louis, another one shot in the head in Vegas. And that's just the beginning. I mean, they're killing. People are being killed by this mob. A mob that is a bleeding heart for a man that was unjustly killed is ending people's lives right now.
Yeah, and they're using the same tactics that criminal cop used. You know, I mean, they don't realize it. You know, well, they know the communist people do, the ANTIFA, and all, they know what they're doing. And, you know what I mean, because we've been talking about for a while how the communists have come and hijacked, and even in some cases, in some of the cities, man, you can't even trust the police because the police have been seen undercover causing trouble and everything else. So, I mean, right now, at this point in time, you don't even know who to trust. You know what I mean? And that's why I tell people we need to unite together and trust ourselves. And the Second Amendment, man, is now more important than ever because at this point in time, man, I hate to say it, but has some of the states, even the cops are the enemy. They're just as bad as Antifa. And, you know, like, it's sad to say, it really is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I've done reports on that where the police were obviously working with Antifa.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you do not know who to trust. But the easiest way, because this movement is another thing behind it is they hate America.
Yeah.
And they want a new normal. They want a new America where and the liberal media is saying we want to replace the police, defund the police. I mean, can you imagine? We want to defund the police.
Wow.
But, I mean, people don't even realize how hard those people work.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to have a few bad apples. You go into a restaurant, you're going to have a few bad apples back in the kitchen.
Yep.
In the wait staff. You go into this business over here, you're going to have a few bad apples. It's just human nature.
And I got friends I went to school with, good ones, and you know, who I truly know they're real good cops and everything. When I wanted to become a cop, I almost did. I wanted to become a police officer to be able to help people. And I know there's tons here in Rhode Island, we're blessed. I mean, for most part, the cops here, the state police and whatnot, they're very awesome people, man. And they always not once interfered in our rights or our protests and everything like that. In Rhode Island, I think we're truly blessed to have the police forces we do.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but we interviewed Serpico early on, and he gave us, you know, the fly in the wall look into just how corrupt a police force can get.
Yep.
It can get, and there are also rookies out there that don't understand or respect your civil rights or your liberties and show too much force. I've been through that, my own personal experiences. I've been in a jail cell for no reason. And it's frustrating, and of course it'll make you angry, but there's nobody there to help me. The only person who could help me was me, and I got through it on my own, you know. And when I left the jail, I didn't go out and start bitching and moaning about, sorry about that, about my skin color. I've never complained that I was thrown in jail or beaten up by a Mexican police officer who was calling me racist names while he was beating me up. I've never complained because it was my skin color. I complain because people are on a power trip. And we've got way too many people out there that get just a little piece of power, and they're like parasites.
Yeah.
And now we've got an entire parasite protest. And they're just feeding off of this country, destroying all those businesses, destroying places that their grandma or their mom went to get food. Now they can't. Those buses aren't even running, like the woman in Minnesota, Minneapolis. She's crying because she can't get food now. They burned down their grandma's store, you know.
Yeah, and plus all the people, the local people in that area that work there, they depend to go to work to feed their families. The business owner, he's barely making it because of the damn taxes. He's got to pay his people and support his own family. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? They think they're getting back at the cops. The cops are still going to, you know, here's the thing with reality, too. If you think you're getting back at the cops, you're not, because tomorrow morning they're still going to put their boots on, they're going to work. Now, the people that you know in your own neighborhoods, they ain't going to work. They're lucky to get food now because you just burned down and looted the local Quickie Mart or something, you know? It's ridiculous.
Right. Well, you know, and of course, the argument. It's now automatic. You can hear the argument on the other side. But when I say something like, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Good luck finding that again on planet Earth.
Yep.
Good luck. And you know what? There's a whole lot of people in this country that will fight to the death for that.
Yes.
We're not just going to turn over because you're whining with and taking selfies in front of the business that you set fire to, or the car you set fire to, or the shop, that was owned by, somebody with no insurance, a black shop owner who had no insurance. You burned it down, and there was a leftist recently representing this whole movement who said that burning these places down is like burning a forest down. It'll grow back. How is that even relative at all?
It's not.
A forest and a business that somebody spent their entire lives putting together, putting all of their money into, all of their time, all of their worries. Their kids are relying on it. Their families are relying on it. People are relying on it for work. How is that a forest that burned down? The rhetoric that is coming out of the left, and
then they go and say
Joe Biden in particular. I mean, the way Joe Biden's talking, you'd think that Martin Luther King was still here, that we were still fighting civil rights. I mean, that's over. We got through that fight. Yeah, we can keep moving forward, and believe me, we have been.
Yeah,
we've given a lot of advantages to the African American community in this country, and Trump in particular.
Oh yeah, he went out hand and foot for the black communities. Look at all the stuff he's done. He made what's his name, the general there, as the head of the military, the whatever it's called, the 5-star general, whatever they are. I don't know. I know it's like the top general, whatever they are. I know he made a African American as that. He's done, he's appointed lots of African Americans as heads of certain things. You know what I mean? And went out and fought tooth and nail for them. You know what I mean? And that yet the left still criticize them and call them a racist. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
Well, he's brought at the very least broadband into the inner cities and out into rural areas to try to get poor people, and that's it, poor people, not by race.
Yeah.
Connected. And, better well connected and have more opportunity online and education. And Trump has done that. Whereas Obama, the half black, half white man, that's the thing about Obama. He's half white, but he's using his blackness against us. And it's not a race thing. It wasn't a race thing. It's a class thing.
Yep.
This is class warfare. If the Democrats can't use this group of people that are burning places down, if people actually came and understood the truth on their own and the facts on their own, if they actually cared that they were being used by the Democratic Party and the left, then they'd get angry. But they're not going to get it. They're not going to understand until they're sitting in a prison cell, because they went out and did the bidding of this class of the left that's using them to destroy this country. And that's why the Democrats are the biggest threat to the United States since World War II.
Absolutely, man. And it was Reagan with that famous speech. Talked about if this country was ever taken over, it'd be through the Democratic Party, the progressives hijacking the Democratic Party. Because a lot of, that's why a lot of real Democrats are starting to flip over to the right side now, because they're starting to see the progressives are communists, and that's what communists are. All they did they never went away in the 1900s. They just switched the hats to call progressive socialists. You know what I mean? Right. And so they're in this country, infiltrated every, like you said, the schools of all places, conditioning the kids on the mass scale. My cousin's a school teacher in Providence, and he said sometimes they almost brainwash him with that garbage, and he's 100% Trump supporter and gun rates and all that. But yeah, man, it's insane what's going on in this country, man. And if people don't rise up now and stand up, and now more than ever. I mean, President Trump mentioned the Second Amendment in his speech, I think it was Sunday night, and he said he's going to get behind the Second Amendment. And that, and what I really think, shows people need to arm themselves to the teeth, regardless if he says it or not. You need to arm yourselves to the teeth and be ready to defend your house and your family's lives, plain and simple.
Yeah, the Second Amendment debate, the gun debate is over now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, through this entire action of this protest, that should have ended days ago when the cop was arrested and we're looking at the evidence and all that. That's what we should all be looking at on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bunch of people stealing $5,000 bags out of Louis Vuitton. What we should be talking about as a country is brutality and how we change that culture. And the protests, they can be out there and they can voice their opinion, and that's great. The more people, the merrier, to get that point across that we do need to change that culture, that we, that the power trips by police officers need to end. But there's a lot of great police officers out there.
Yes.
And the job that they do some of the, these people work long hours, and they go from a knife fight to driving over to some guy that's schizophrenic who's, trying to shoot up his apartment to, this, that, and the other, all in a day's work. And it's a crazy life. It's a crazy life. So we need to have a better conversation about that. But when it comes to the statistics and the numbers and the intent of BLM and the obvious intent of Antifa, which is to destroy the United States, we need to face that head on and not be kowtowed and afraid that somebody's going to call you a racist or label you a racist. Because I know deep down in my heart, and I've been on this planet long enough to know for a fact that I am not a racist. And
well, that's a cop-out they use.
I'm an American.
They use that as a cop-out.
I love all the Americans in this country, and I love being an American.
Yep.
And I pull from Americans of every stripe, you can think of, from my own experience in my pursuit of happiness. But the one thing that we're not getting is a pursuit of happiness anymore. It's a pursuit of sorrow.
Yep.
It's a pursuit of self-loathing. It's a pursuit of blame. And it's this generation that was raised in daycare centers. Part of this is no fault of their own, but they're angry inside. They're angry at mommy and daddy.
Yep.
That's who they're angry at. And mommy and daddy, now that they're in their 20s and 30s, has become the United States government and has become the president and has become the rest of us. And mommy and daddy that they're angry at can be relegated to a skin color. And F the police, well, there's more mommy and daddy they're angry at. That's what they're angry at. Because if you were actually angry about George Floyd's horrible execution and you knew the facts, then you wouldn't even be out there right now after a curfew. The only reason they're out there after the curfew is to cause chaos and to burn more things down and to say, America, we hate you. America, we hate you. That's what they're saying.
Yep.
Once you get beyond the curfew, once you've done your due diligence as a protester, which is fine. I've been in protests. I protest all the time. My life is a giant protest. Once you do that and you've said your piece and you've made an impact, if you haven't made an impact, you keep saying your piece.
Yeah. But
if you're out there, as I'm watching right now in Massachusetts, Brockton, Massachusetts, getting pretty ugly there. And it's spreading out. It's spreading out. It's like, you know, okay, well, they got it under control in Philadelphia. And then Des Moines, a bunch of protesters get shot by other protesters. Like, where did that come from? You know? And now you got Brockton, Massachusetts, and now you're surrounded by it. In Rhode Island, Providence.
It's crazy. So, yeah, helicopters fly right over the building over here. Yeah, it's nuts. It's a very low altitude, too. And now I got to worry about, you know, when I leave this place, I got to work tonight, too. I work third shift, but I got to drive home, you know what I mean? And I'm going to go through half that mess, and, you know, it's going to be insane. I'm prepared to run people over. I don't care, man. You know, I'm going to use my car as a weapon. If somebody gets my way, threatens my life, I'm running their asses over, plain and simple.
Well, I mean, as long as you're moving, but the problem is somebody starts taking a hammer to your car.
Yep.
Or busts out your window. I'm sorry, man. I don't know. I don't know how anybody. I saw somebody doing that to a car. It was a few days ago. I think it was in Minnesota. It was on a highway, and they had kids in the car, and it's like a minivan or something like that. And this guy knocks the back window out, and then this girl screaming "F the police," and you know, white people this, white people that, and she's white, of course. And she's pounding on the car, and I'm just thinking, man, I mean, I hate to say it. That's why I shouldn't be in those situations.
Yeah, me either.
I wouldn't be able to control myself. I would.
Same here, man.
I would have choked both of them out. But you know, I'm not saying anyone should do that. I'm just saying they're pushing us. They're pushing us. And we're all innocent. We're all totally innocent. I didn't have anything to do. My ancestors had nothing to do with slavery.
Nope.
Straight through my ancestors, completely clean.
And there's not a person alive today, or their grandparents alive today, to have anything to do with that.
Do with slavery. And even if you did have in your past some slave owner, which was what, 2% of the South?
Yeah, but
if they were part of the 2%, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. That's not you.
Hey, brother, we got about a minute left in the show here, so I want to thank you for coming on. If you want to close out with any of your last thoughts and where people can follow you.
Okay, you can find me at Jon Bowne Politics on YouTube and dailynewscollective.com, Jon Bowne Reports on YouTube, Jon Bowne Politics on Twitter, Newsbound on Twitter, and send me a message. Let me know if you heard me tonight. I'd love to hear from you. And also, you can find me at band.video. And as far as my thoughts right now, congratulations, liberals. When it's all said and done, your precious white guilt, weaponized by the Borg of post-industrial trust fund babies who were brainwashed in your sellout pro-Marxist schools, are leading an entire generation of black people into a prison cell.
Yep.
Telling them the lie that your right to protest is synonymous with your right to vandalize, burn, and loot. It's a lie.
Absolutely. And thank you, John. And I also catch John on Infowars.com as well. He's a reporter for them, too. And thank you, brother. I'll be in touch with you. Stay safe, man.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Yep. So, guys, last closing the show here. I want to thank you all for joining. Guys, everybody out there, please stay safe. The best thing to do is arm up, stay in your houses, and get ready to defend your families. But this is Dan Bidondi for the Dan Bidondi Show right here at 99WBB.com. God bless, good night, shalom, and you are the resistance. Declaring war on the New World Order. TruthRadioShow.com.